I got a few minutes here to 400 Monroe. If anyone knows, you know. But downtown Detroit, absolutely congested, absolutely miserable experience going down here. Like I said, just really the armpit of America in a lot of ways. But you know, Wayne County Sheriff's Office, I've never seen such a more worthless group of just human beings other than the city of Wayne, right? It's really remarkable. But this whole area, you know, Wayne County Sheriff's Department, it's all DEI, it's all jogger, it's all degenerates, right? You can't tell the difference, right? Like, you'll be like interacting with like Wayne County Sheriff's personnel, right? The jail personnel, right? I mean, look at Sheriff Raphael Washington, right? Look at how big of a piece of absolute guy. But his sex scandals, right? Putting his penis out on the internet, right? Sickos, right? I mean, but basically, the city of Wayne, I've noticed more of my signs have been stolen from the city of Wayne, multiple signs today, but really it's dozens, right? I put out dozens of signs, and virtually all of them, whether they're on private property or public easement, they've been removed and I'm assuming destroyed. They're nowhere to be found. And you know, the guy that's destroying them, Brandon Braun, he's an ordinance officer. He works for the city of Wayne, and I've tried to ask him, right, on video live multiple times now, hey, what'd you do with those signs of mine that you stole, you know, that you removed? And he just sticks his tongue out and laughs and thinks it's cute and funny. So I'm taking that as he's destroyed the signs. And I've reached out to Diane Webb and the police, and I got them on email, and I've asked them several times, you know, hey, where are those signs at? I'd like to retrieve those signs that, you know, I have $1,000 budget to campaign for office in Wayne County, and, you know, I'm actively having my signs destroyed, right? I mean, not removed, right? Destroyed. And that's not right. That's fucked up, right? That's election interference all day long. Well, I try to call the Michigan State Police, right? I try to call Taylor, right? The Metro Post in Taylor. And the guy tells me that they only do traffic stuff, right? So they're just like dancing around it, right? And so you reach out to the headquarters, Michigan State headquarters in Lansing, and they just reroute you to Metro Post, right? So then you call Wayne County, right? Well, first of all, you call these numbers, right? Trying to get a hold of people, and the voicemails are full. All the voicemails are full, right? And the numbers, like, literally, they'll just be like the busy signal, right? You'll wait, and then it'll just beep, 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 beep. So you can't get a hold of no one at the Michigan State Police. If you do get a hold of them, they just send you back to Taylor. Taylor tells you, this is Taylor, Michigan, Metro, Michigan State Police Post. They told me, oh, we only deal with traffic. We only deal with traffic. So you're like, well, that's interesting. So then you call the headquarters and they reroute you back there. So eventually, basically, you call the sheriff's office, and then there's this beep, 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 beep. Can't get a hold of nobody. And then the voicemail, right? So you're like, wow. So state and county, you just can't get a hold of whatsoever. Like, you're fucked, right? So now you're forced to deal with the Wayne police, and the Wayne police, they don't want to deal with it because they say, well, you know, they just shrug their shoulders and say, well, he's taken other signs down too, so that makes it okay. And it's like, well, okay, you can't destroy people's political signs. I mean, this is like, anyone who has any morality at all, who's not a complete retard, you shouldn't have to really explain this to people, because most people understand, like, yeah, you can't destroy people's property. You can't interfere with elections, right? Like, that's kind of a big deal in America, or at least it used to be. It used to be a big deal. But, yeah, now, you know, I guess I'm just shit out of luck, I guess. I'm just supposed to, I don't know, I guess. Well, no, there's other options. We'll escalate it up to federal, because at that point, it is a federal crime. It is a federal crime. The county just refused to want to deal with it, and then the police just say, oh, well, whoopsie, you know, what do you want us to do about it? Which is like, you know, well, retrieve my property, investigate what happened to it, and prosecute the person who destroyed my property, who stole my property, right? You can't steal people's property and then, you know, destroy their property, right? It's just mind-blowing. So I guess that's another 1983 against the city of Wayne, because that is a policy. I mean, at that point, that is their policy, right? Their policy is inaction, and their policy is to just, you know, look the other way when obvious crimes are being committed. So that's another 1983. But, you know, that is a slow process, and we're not just going to exclusively rely on 1983s. We're going to have no choice. We got to reach out federally. And obviously, the whole government right now is a dumpster fire on steroids. And I mean, locally, it's horrible. Statewide, in my state of Michigan, it's absolutely fucking atrocious, the corruption. The county level, it's even worse than the state level, which is hard to believe, hard to comprehend. And then somehow, some way, the city level is more corrupt than all of them. So you're like, well, holy shit, you know, what do we do? And then, you know, of course, Democrats are half of the, you know, voting bloc, and, you know, at least half, right? Certain areas like mine, it's majority Democrat. So you're just fucked. I mean, you're just totally, utterly, unequivocally, there's no hope for truth. There's no hope for any sort of recourse at all, right? They literally do nothing, and then they basically instigate you to try to take matters into your own hands, right? Because that's what they want, right? They want me to overreact, and, you know, what they want me to do is take matters into my own hands, and then they can use that to justify lethal force against me. I mean, because the City of Wayne Police Department, they want to murder me. It's abundantly obvious. They're licking their chops to murder me and to do harm to me. And, you know, they illegally removed me from a council meeting, you know, violated my First Amendment on May 19th, conveniently the same day that they violated my rights a year ago to the day, May 19th, right, which was arguably the worst break-in, right? That was the most egregious one, in my opinion. July 5th was pretty bad too, at 25, right? Because but May 19th, because there's just simply no police report whatsoever, right? They just never made one. You know, there was more than a dozen cops and a dozen firemen in my house, but, you know, just don't have it, right? Just don't exist. So it's interesting stuff, very interesting stuff. And you know, it's like they're mocking you, they're menacing you, they're provoking you, they're antagonizing you, right? And you know, the Michigan State Police, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, they're all just deliberately indifferent about it because, you know, got too much other shit going on, right? They only deal with traffic, right? So that's a outright lie, but that's what they'll do. They'll lie to you to get you off the phone, and, you know, dance around and kick the can down the road and everything else, right? I mean, so anything other than do their jobs, of course, right? Which is why government is ultimately a failure. But we have these laws where you're not allowed to take matters into your own hands, and you're not allowed to go physically retrieve your property. You have to call the police, and then of course the police can just decide, hey, we're just not going to do anything. We're just not going to do anything. We're just going to feed you a line of bullshit and just tell you, oh yeah, bro, you know, we're, you know, our hands are tied, bro, or, oh, you can reach out to the Michigan State Police, knowing full well that the Michigan State Police is going to tell you to reach out to them. And then you just end up in this big circle, right? This big circle of nothing. And, you know, then most people get frustrated and most people give up. But every once in a while, you'll get a person who will, you know, again, just fucking ram their head face first into it. And, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Sometimes you end up in jail for it. Sometimes you end up dead for it. Which, of course, I already know. Like I said, I already know full well. I mean, these people had me falsely petitioned, and I failed. And then they had to get me out of the meeting because, God forbid, if I call Grombrowski a veteran killer, even though he literally killed a veteran on video and everyone knows it, and you covered for him. But you're not allowed to have that discussion, have that observation, have that... you know, belief, right? You're not allowed to think that, right? And then, of course, you're not allowed to question the budget. You're not allowed to tell people off like, hey, I'm not going to continue to be interrupted. I'm going to say whatever the hell I want to say, and I'm going to say it freely, without prior restraint, without a chilling effect on my speech, without being fucking, you know, coerced and threatened and harassed because I want to talk a certain way and say a certain thing, right? With 3 minutes, right? 3 minutes, right? Because they can't limit your speech enough, right? So they got to add more restrictions and more First Amendment violations. And then John Racy said it himself. He said it himself. See, what I love is when they talk, they say the quiet part out loud, right? He lies and says he's been harassed for over 2 years. Yeah, I mean, that, which news though, right? Which news? That's the question, right? So, yeah, I mean, that is effort that I could, take away from, my lawsuits and other pursuits that I have going on. So, it's ultimately just designed to be a distraction. And, like I said, I'm only one guy, and I have limited resources, limited time, and, it's just, it's antagonizing me, and it's causing me emotional distress because now I have to deal with that bullshit. When really it's like, look, you're allowed 180 seconds to speak, 3 minutes, whatever the fuck it is, as long as they're not inciting violence and there's not true threats, right? There's not actually a crime being committed, then they're allowed to speak and do what the fuck they want for those 3 minutes, right? Unless a crime's being committed, which of course no crime is being committed, no crime was committed. That's the whole point. So it's just made up policy, procedural bullshit that they impose upon you, so you can exercise your right. You know what I mean? So you have to be forced into their fucking permit scheme, so to speak, their policy, their scheme. You got to be forced into their scheme in order to have First Amendment right to speak, right? And then, it's all bullshit. You guys realize this. It's all prior restraint. It's all chilling effect. It's all designed to get you to not talk, to get you fluttered, to get you off fucking topic, to get the focus to be about that and not about the actual fucking crux of the issue. It's all, you guys know what it is. We all know what it is. But it's very frustrating when you're fucking, your rights are so obviously being violated. And of course, Michigan State Police, they couldn't give a fuck because, it's all bullshit, guys. It's all fucking bullshit. Once you understand that it's like, well, half the police are joggers, half the police are DEI, the other half are so busy with, because there's only so many people actually working, right? There's only real workers. There's not that many of them, right, that actually are fucking doing the work, right? Most of them are, avoiding work, right? Let's be honest here. So, you're just like, wow, this is just a fuck state. But then you realize, well, it's not just the state of Michigan. No. It's most states in the country, most cities, most counties. And so, yeah, here. Oh. So, I'll be back, guys. I got to go in here real quick to the Wayne County office here real quick, and we'll be back. Thanks, guys. Oh, how you doing, buddy?